Homelessness in Central Oregon. The next 5 minutes could be an eye-opening experience for you. I'm Dave Adams. Icon City is an outreach to homeless kids here in Central Oregon. Tim Bach is one of the group's organizers.
You see a lot of faces, young faces downtown, and the challenge is that people don't oftentimes hear their story. And I think everyone makes a judgment call. We all kind of are responsible on a daily basis to make some decisions or to look at people and try to figure certain things out. But until you hear their story, it's really hard to judge. And a lot of people wonder, why don't they get a job, or who are these kids? But a number of them are displaced, and they stay and sleep and live right here in the city center in Bend. A lot of times they take pets and put them in sleeping bags at night. And one told me that she tied pets to her body at night to be able to take the heat from the animal to help her survive.
How many kids are you aware of?
Ballpark, I've probably personally spoken with over 100, but I know that I've been told by someone on the school board that I'll leave unnamed that there were, I believe, 600 children without an address on our school rolls in Bend.
How old are these kids?
We have spoke with kids who were displaced and living on the street as young as 12. And then the average age is probably still 16 to 18.
Give me a story of a typical kid.
I guess we'll just use the name Jane. There's a young lady that we know and work with on a very regular basis. They collect money, call it spanging. They go and get change. You'll see them asking for change outside with their signs and so on. Most people ask, why would they not get a job? So here's this young lady, and we begin to just ask the questions to try to find out what's their story. That's kind of how we lead into our conversations to see how we can provide a little bit of relief to some of the immediate need. And long term, we hope to partner with organizations that get their GED, their education, reacquaint them with families, all of those organizations available in our city. But we may be the first link in that regard, and in the meantime, we can alleviate a little bit of the pain, bringing medicine, change of clothes, those kinds of things. So this young lady, as we asked her story, Jane told us that mom was a prostitute, and lived in Portland, and there were a lot of men in and out of the house. And so this young lady was raised in an environment where she was terribly taken advantage of and abused, and so it was safer for her to leave. Dad was incarcerated, so she came to this area to get away from that struggle. A lot of the kids tell us that they hear Central Oregon is a safe place to be. So if a kid has to be exposed to an urban environment or a street life, a place like Bend is kind of still friendly. So as we talked to this young lady, she came here because it was safer. It was a little ways away. It was close enough she could hitchhike, so on. And she heard there was money here, and so they could collect money. People say, why don't they get a job? Well, didn't have an ID, doesn't have a mother or a father to get that help from, doesn't have a birth certificate, those kind of things. You go to get the ID, it's about $30 to get the ID, which to those kids seems like a lot of money. And without adult direction, a lot of them just really can't do it without some sort of adult leadership or intervention. They've not been raised with any kind of real skills. Then when they get the ID, they go to apply for a job. Well, the job wants to know what's your phone number and address. Well, if you're on the street, you don't have an address and you don't have a phone number, then an employer, as I think any employer would be thinking, how do I know I can train this person, invest in this person, hire this person, count on this person? Even if she had an ID, she didn't have any way to get to work, to be contacted, any of those things. So then the kid is reduced to go, I don't have a situation where I have help, I'm abandoned, it's safer on the streets than at home, and I don't have the means to apply for work. And if I do, I usually get declined because when I apply, they kind of laugh when they realize I don't have even a house or a phone number. So this is the cycle for this child, who then needs to be somehow intervened with. The problem is during that time they're taken advantage of. There are other people that try to prey in those environments. We have that cycle here. I think if we bound together, there's enough resource around the table in Bend, there's enough people who have the same hope and idea and aspirations that together we could probably accomplish some things to really bring genuine relief and see some resolve and some solution for some of these kids who really don't know where to turn next.
You can hear much more of our conversation with Tim Bach and Lonnie Chapin of Icon City on our podcast at KBND.com. You can also find out more about the group by going to their website, iconcity.us. I'm Dave Adams. Take 5 is a production of 1110 KBND Radio News. Depend on us.